This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, Bruchim Abam, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the penultimate Shiur of Tafshin Ayin Tes, Tafshin Ayin Ches, and Tafshin Ayin Tes. Welcome, everyone. Parshas Kisavai. So obviously, there's the elephant in the room. But we're not letting it out yet. So I want to start like this. If we think about the Yom Noraim and we think about the progression of the Yom Noraim, we realize first you have Yom Adin. You know, you prepare during the month of Elul for Rosh Hashanah, Aseret Yimei Tshuva, Yom Kippur. You have Chag HaSukkos, you have a Hoshana Rabbah, and then Chaf Beis Tishrei, the 22nd day of Tishrei, you have Simchas Torah, as if somehow, if Rosh Hashanah didn't do it, if the Yom Kippur didn't do it, if a Sukkos didn't do it, then your last chance, your last hope is Simchas Torah, as if Simchas Torah somehow could accomplish what none of the previous days accomplished. Quite interesting. We know the power of a Rosh Hashanah. We know the awe-inspiring experience of a Rosh Hashanah. We know the tiness of Yom Kippur, the Yom HaGadol v'Hanoira, and yet somehow the final, the crescendo, the pinnacle of the entire experience of what we're preparing basically a month for in Elul, and then finally is Simchas Torah. Why is Simchas Torah, so to speak, the pinnacle, the highest darga of all the days that we are preparing for? Let's begin with the Gemara Masechta Megillah, Daf Lamed Aleph Amud Beis. The Gemara tells us that there are two Parshas a year that Ezra, when he enacted the Parshas and when they should be read, Ezra specifically ordained that there are two Parshas of the year that have to be learned at specific intervals. And that is Parshas Bechukoisai and Parshas Kisavai. Says the Gemara, Tanya Rav Shimon Elazar Omer, Ezra tiken lehem liyisrael. Ezra was masakin shiu korin klolos shabbatayras koyanim. To masakin that we read the curses of Vayikra, of Bechukaisai, koidem atzeres before Shavuos, b'sheva Mishnah Torah, and to learn the klolos of Kisavai, koidem Rosh Hashanah. My taima, Amar Abaye, v'tamar Reish Lakish, kedei shetichle hashana v'koloseha. We want the year to end together with its curses. So to speak, as the year is coming to an end, everybody hopes for, everybody is yearning for, everybody has a promising yearning for a better year ahead. However this year was, everybody is hoping that the coming year will be even better, and therefore we lane the toichach at the end of the year, so to speak, as the year is ending and going down the drain, we want the year to end tichle shana v'koloseha, and therefore Ezra was masakin that we specifically lane the toichach before the new year, be it the new year of Rosh Hashanah, be it the new year of Shavuos, which the Gemara says is Rosh Hashanah le'ilan. Okay, comes Tosfos, and Tosfos asks a very important question. Frek Tosfos, we know that if there are two Shabbosos between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot, we're going to actually break up Parshas Nitzavim and Vayelech into two Parshas. So Nitzavim we're going to lane next week, next Shabbos, and then the following week we're going to lane Vayelech, and then we're going to lane Hazinu. Fraktoy says, wait a second. You're going to take Nitzam Vayelech and you're going to cut it in half? Nitzam Vayelech, they're tiny. They're barely a parsha. You could fit 5 Nitzam and Vayelechs into a big parsha. Matois Maseh, what did we do? We put them together. Fraktoy says, what's the chachma in fusing together Matois Maseh and breaking apart Nitzam and Vayelech? Wouldn't it make more sense to break apart Matois Maseh and put Nitzam and Vayelech together? So Tosfos says, well, maybe the reason is that we actually want to lane Nitzavim before Rosh Hashanah as well. You know why we want to lane Nitzavim before Rosh Hashanah as well? Because in Nitzavim, they're klolos. Moshe Rabbeinu gave certain klolos to Klal Yisrael in Parshas Nitzavim. So the same way we say Tichle Shana v'Koloseha, that we want to get Kisavai out before the new year, to get the curses in before the year is over. So too we want to get Nitzavim in before the new year is over, for the same principle of Tichle Shana v'Koloseha. Okay, so Tosfos says that's not true. That can't be the case. Number one, asks Tosfos, if you look in the Gemara in Bava Basra, incredible Gemara, I wasn't aware. The Gemara says, let's contrast the two toichachas in the Torah, Bechukaisai and Kisavai. We know that by both toichachas, first comes a short bracha, and then comes the klalos. Bechukaisai are the words of Hashem directly. Mishnah Torah are the words of Hashem via Moshe Rabbeinu, the Gemara says in Megillah. In Bechukaisai, when it comes to the brachos that Hashem gives, He starts with one letter of the Aleph Beis, and the brachos end with the letter that comes right before it to indicate that the brachos encapsulate the entirety of the Aleph Beis. Mashen came when it comes to the klalos, says the Gemara. Hashem starts with one letter, and the final letter is only 8 letters later to indicate that the bracha of Hashem is expansive and the klal of Hashem is limited. Mashen came, Moshe Rabbeinu in this week's Parsha, the Gemara Bava Basra, which is actually the last Gemara Malkum on the sheet. The brachos that Moshe Rabbeinu gives in this week's Parsha, it starts with the word Vav, V'hoyim Shamaya Tishma, and it ends with the word Mem Le'avdam, to indicate that the bracha of Moshe Rabbeinu only encompasses 8 oisiyos. However, the klala of Moshe Rabbeinu, which begins with V'hoya im loisishma, ends with im loy kaineh, the ein kaineh, it begins with a Vav, and it goes Zayin Ches Tes Yud Chaf Lamed Mem Nun Samach Ayin Pei Tzadi Kuf Reishin Taf. The ein kaineh goes to a hey. The klala of Moshe Rabbeinu encompasses all 22 letters of the Aleph Beis. So says Tosfos, what do we see from here? That what is the final klala of Moshe Rabbeinu Mishnah Torah? The ein kaineh, which means the last klala is in kisavai and not in nitzavim. So you can't say we want to get nitzavim in before the year is over because of the klalos in nitzavim, because actually you see from the Gemara Bava Basra, the klalos of nitzavim are not considered klalos. The Gemara is clearly saying that the klalos end with the words v'ein kaineh. And therefore Tosfos says an incredible thing. Tosfos says that the reason why we don't break up Nitzavim Vayelech, why we break up Nitzavim Vayelech, the reason why we break it up is because not only do we want to lein Kisavai before the new year, not only do we want to get Kisavai in before the beginning of the new year, but we don't want it to get too close to the new year. We want to have a buffer zone between the klalos of the Toichacha and the beginning of Rosh Hashanah. Because Chas v'Shalom, yes, you want the year to end together with the klalos, but if the klalos start infringing on the Rosh Hashanah, you don't want Hashem to be deciding what our year should be like and still have the taste of the klalos in his mouth because we just laned nitzavim. So therefore, we just laned kisavai. So therefore, we create a buffer zone. We get kisavai in before the end of the year, and we buffer it with Parshas Nitzavim so that it doesn't get too close to Rosh Hashanah. Says Tosfos the same thing with Bechukaisai. We want to get Bechukaisai in before Shavuos, but we don't want it to get too close to Shavuos, so we use Bamidbar as a buffer between Bechukaisai and the Yom Tov of Shavuos. So you see from this Tosfos 2 very important principles. Number 1, we are very concerned about the Toichacha, and that is we want to get out every last klala in the Toichacha before Rosh Hashanah. Whatever we could do to sort of deplete the klalos of the Toichacha before the new year, we're going to try to do. We want to fulfill this inyan of Tichla Shanah V'Kiloisah. And we're so concerned about it, and we're so nervous about it, that we need to buffer it with an entire Parsha in between. So we see from here that our entire calendar is very concerned and very immersed in getting rid of the klalos, not letting the klalos affect what our upcoming din is going to be. Let's explain this and let's delve into this further. Okay, Mar Rabbi Sai, we all know how many klalos are in this week's Parsha? 98 klalos. We're going to get to that soon. What precipitates the klalos? What brings on the klalos? So actually in Parshas Kisavah it does not mention any avera. It doesn't say if you do this avera, if you do that avera, you're going to have the Toichacha, except all it says is Tachas ashalay avadata as Hashem leikecha b'simcha uvetov levav meirevka, because you didn't serve God in joy. Meaning, avada, you came early to davening. You didn't. It's not you rolled in, davening's 8 o'clock and Baruch Hu is 8:15, so you rolled in 8:07, so you missed most of Psukei Zimah. You don't end up davening Shemana Esrei with the tzibur, so you're not even davening with the minyan. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, by the way, everyone should know, we're coming to the Yom Adin. If people say, I daven with the minyan, daven with the minyan means you start Shemana Esrei with the minyan. Otherwise, you're davening in a shul and you're not davening with the minyan. It's not tefillah b'tzibur. The person has to be aware of that. We're not talking about, Hashem's not saying you come late. Hashem's saying you come early. but you're not happy about it. You come in the morning, you're in a bad mood, you're growling, you're miserable, you're irritated all day. You don't serve me in joy. Which is Pilei Plum, the whole Teichacha, all the Klalos, all the Einshim, are because we don't serve God in joy. It's such a terrible thing. I mean, imagine, your Rebbe in a class, the newsman is starting, and there's a Talmud there, he's learning, and the Rebbe said, and the Talmud gets 100 on the test, and the Talmud knows all the answers, but you're not smiling wide enough. Rebbe, relax, the kid's doing what do you want from the way he's busting his chops? He's doing what he needs to do, so he's not smiling enough. What do you want from him? But the Rebbeinu Shalom saying that the Teichacha comes because you didn't serve me in joy, that's pretty severe, that's pretty heavy stuff. We all know there are 98 klalos in the Teichacha. Interestingly, how many times does Rashi say that in this week's Parsha? 0. Rashi doesn't say it at all. Actually, Rashi points this out in Parshas Pinchas. Parshas Pinchas. When Rashi mentions that on the Yom Tov of Sukkot we bring 14 kavasim every day of Sukkot, 14, 14, 14, 14, 14, 14, 14, 14 times 7 is 98, Rashi says the 98 shepselach that we bring on Sukkot wards off and is mavatel the 98 klolos of the Teichacha. Like Mashmita Eitzel Ar Sinai, what in the world, the sheep that we bring, the sheep is going, bah! And we slit its throat, and now we're good to go. I mean, how does that work? If only it would be so easy. Why are the 98 klasim on Sukkot, how are they mevatel the klalos of the Teichacha? So, I will admit that the reason that I spoke about this topic is Mirz Hashem Sunday, we have a big simcha in the shul. Rabbi Dodi Gross is sponsoring, donating the Sefer Torah to our shul. Here there's the information, 12:30 p.m., Ksiva Soisias 317 Linwood. I can announce on Torah anytime. You're going to have people from from South Africa. They're going to be coming here. Yeah, it's okay, right? And tonight's Shiur is sponsored by our good Yedid, Rabbi Menachem Gross, who, since I'm in the shul, he's always here at every critical occasion and every important juncture. Rabbi Menachem is here to be mechazik us and to be ma'oided us. Mirz Hashem, you should be together with us, encouraging us. Ad biyas goyel tzedek. Urei banim levanecha, shama Yisrael. So, we're going to talk a little bit about Simchas Torah, and we're going to talk about Hachnasa Sefer Torah. So I want to share with you a shaila that came up in the 19th century, shaila Setshuvas Lev Chaim, and of Reb Chaim Falaji. Chaim Falaji is one of the all-time great Sephardic Gaonim. So I have my information over here. Chaim Falaji was born in 1788, and he was Mr. in 1868. He was the Chacham Bashi of Turkey in Izmir, and he wrote 72 Svarim. According to one account, he wrote 82 Svarim. The problem was he kept all his manuscripts in his home, and one day the whole house went up in flames. And he was mamish, sabrachin, he was oismensch, he was sick in bed, he couldn't move. And his son said, what's the problem? We'll do it again. And he started to talk to the tata. He said, just say it over, Zog Ibr. And Reb Chaim Falaji said over all 72 Sfarim, and they rewrote it. But I think he wrote more than 72 Sfarim. Okay, be it as it may, his kever is in Izmir. There's a very big pilgrimage. I've been to a lot of Kfarim. That one, maybe one day will be on the list, but right now I'm not sure that we can make it to Izmir for the kever of Reb Chaim Falaji. One day. Work on it, Yasser, Well, okay. But Reb Chaim Falaji was bothered by the following question. In Izmir, in the month of Nisan and Iyar, there were terrible earthquakes. The whole city shook. The people were dying. There was famine, and they didn't know what to do. So there's a certain Talmud Chacham who had a chaloim. He had a dream, and in the dream, the Talmud Chacham took the Sefer Torah, went out into Rechayva Shalir, and everybody came and lined up and kissed the Sefer Torah and hugged the Sefer Torah, and it was Mavato the Gzeros, and he woke up. And now the question is, can the city of Izmir, to save their life and to save the city, take the Sefer Torah out into the Rechayva Shalir? Everyone's going to line up and kiss the Sefer Torah, hug the Sefer Torah, and be Mavato the Gzeros of the earthquakes. So Reb Chaim Falaji responded as follows. Since it is auster to remove a Sefer Torah from a shul, unless you're going to read from it, Therefore, since this is against the halacha, we're going to apply the principle in Shas, divrei chaloimois, loy malin v'loy maridin. The dreams are meaningless. The dreams have no substance to it. Dreams mean nothing. It's dvarim betelim ba'alma. We cannot take out the Sefer Torah for people to hug and kiss. We cannot pay attention to the dream. Look in the Torah. The Torah writes the halacha that on Sukkot, when is the correct time to do Hashanah? So, let me remember. Nusach Ashkenaz does it at the end of davening. I daven Nusach Ashkenaz, but haven't seen it in years already, what they do in Nusach Ashkenaz. Nusach Svar does it right before Hallel, right? They do the Hashanah. After Hallel? After Hallel, there you go. Thank you.
By the end of Hashanah.
What?
By the end of Hashanah.
So that's a nice way of saying I'm wrong. I got it. Yeah. Okay. So at the end of Hallel.
It's the same thing. It's all right.
What? So you're right. Thank you. Fine. So basically, the Torah writes both of these practices are wrong. Both of these practices are incorrect. You may not take out a Sefer Torah if you're not going to learn from it. And since to do the Hashanah, they take out the Sefer Torah and they don't read from it, the only time to do Hashanah is right before Kriyas HaTorah. You take out the Sefer Torah and you do the Hashanah, and then you learn from it. Otherwise, you may not take out the Sefer Torah if you don't read from it. However, the Torah says, Ve'ein noyagin kein. That is not the minhag. The minhag is either you do it after the Hallel or you do it after the Musaf. Okay, be it as it may, says Rav Chaim Falaji, from the Torah we see that the only time we allow you to take out a Sefer Torah, if you're not going to read from it, if at the end of the day it's going to remain in the shul. For example, Leil Yom Kippur, you take out the Sefer Torah, but at the end of the day it remains in the shul. Or Simchas Torah, even if you're not going to learn from it, it remains in the shul. But to take out Sifrei Torah out of a shul, even to greet other Sifrei Torah that are coming in, some places they have a minhag, they remove the Sefer Torah from the shul to greet the incoming Sefer Torah, that you may not do. By the way, Ravad Yosef has a tshuva that you are allowed to take Sefer Torah out of a shul to greet an incoming Sefer Torah. But says Rav Chaim Falaji, based on the above, it is only permitted to take out a Sefer Torah if you're going to learn from it, and if you're not going to learn from it, you must leave it in the shul. So the fact that this Talmud Chacham had a dream that in order to ward off the Gezeros, you need to take the Sefer Torah out, we do not pay attention to dreams. Dreams are meaningless. Like, who was the last guy to say, I had a dream? It's nonsense. We don't pay attention to dreams. Dreams don't mean anything, and therefore, halacha lemaisa, you may not take the Sefer Torah out of the shul.
It must mean anything, because they say in davening by Birkas Kahanim, for dreams.
Oh, you mean dreams mean something? Yeah, Tainas Chalim. That's if it's not against the halacha, but if it's against the halacha, divrei chaloimos loy malin v'loy maridin. Let me tell you a chidah. The chidah says that the Gemara in Tainis talks about the Eis Sarah. They would take a Sefer Torah out of the shul, they would bring it b'chayva shal'ir in order to be mispala. The Gemara in Tainis, right, the Mishnah. So they asked the chidah, can we take a Sefer Torah out of a shul? Be'ez Sarah. Says the chidah, absolutely not. It is usher to remove a Sefer Torah from a shul. Rabbi Yosef Irgaz writes, al pi Kabbalah, you may not remove a Sefer Torah from a shul. The Rabbi Yaakov Abuav says to greet another Sefer Torah you're allowed to, but stam azoi, to take a Sefer Torah out of a shul, even be'ez Sarah, you may not remove a Sefer Torah from a shul. Comes along the expanded version of the Sefer, Hanechamadim mi Paz. So today Dudi got me the Kitzer Hanechamadim mi Paz, but there is one with very extensive footnotes, where he says, from these two Maramakoimos, from Rav Chaim Falaji and from the Chidah, we see an incredible thing. When they asked Rav Chaim Falaji, may we take out a Sefer Torah to hug it and kiss it, to be Mavato Gzeros, Rav Chaim Falaji should have said, are you out of your mind? You think by hugging a Sefer Torah and kissing it, you'll be Mavato Gzeros? Well, what's wrong with you? How by you hugging and kissing a Sefer Torah, you'll be Mavato Gzeros? But he didn't say that. That's mashma avada. When you hug and you kiss the Sefer Torah, it's mavato gzeros rois. Elamai, he just said you can't remove it from the shul. So then the fact that Rav Chaim Falaji took the question seriously and addressed the halachic issue of the question, instead of saying this skula is nonsensical, that means he holds taka, it's a real skula. That when a yid hugs and kisses the Sefer Torah, it's mavato gzeros rois. You see from the fact that the Chidah said, they asked the Chidah, can we take the Sefer Torah out, be'ez Sarah, The Chida, why didn't the Chida said Be'ez Sarah? How's the Sefer Torah, by being removed from the shul, how's it going to protect you Be'ez Sarah? It must be really when the Sefer Torah goes out into the open. Wherever a Sefer Torah goes, it like shines light, it emanates Kedusha, and if you hug it and kiss it under those circumstances, it will be Mavatel all the Gzeros Rois. Elamah, you can't take it out of the shul. But says Hanechamadim Izav. But let's say you have a good excuse to take a Sefer Torah out of a shul, namely it's being written in someone's house, and the only way for it to get to the shul is to have a procession from the house to the shul, then you should know it's an Eis Ratzoim Noira V'Ayim, and if any Yid is hugging and kissing the Sefer Torah at that time, it will be Mavatel all the Gzeros Rois. And Taka on Simchas Torah, if you hug and kiss the Sefer Torah, whatever Gzeros Rois may still be looming after Yom Noraim, you give the Sefer Torah a Geshmaka kiss, it's Mavatel all the Gzeros Rois. This is what we see from Rav Chaim Falazer. Otherwise you should have said, who made up this ridiculous skula that when you hug a Sefer Torah, it's Mavatel Gzeros? He didn't say that. That's mashma, he's moide, it's a powerful skula to Mavatel Gzeros. Elamah, you can't remove it. But if there ever should be a circumstance that Sefer Torah is out of the shul, legitimately, and that would only be by a hachnasa Sefer Torah, says Anachmadim Izav, make it your business to be there, to give it a hug, to give it a kiss, and to be mechavein, that actually this will be mavatel all the gzeros. Yeah, good. So I ask you, how in the world, by hugging and kissing a Sefer Torah, are you mevatel gzeros rois? Since when, as far as I know, it's not one of the 613 mitzvahs in the Torah, not to hug a Sefer Torah, not to kiss a Sefer Torah, and all of a sudden now, this is the way to be mevatel gzeros rois.
How do we know that
now let's discuss... What?
Where do you get the fact that you're not supposed to take out a Sefer Torah?
That we learned from...
Where do they get that?
From the Arayin. That the Arayin has to be transported through the Bnei Levi and cannot be left alone and can only be transported for the sake of the Mishkan and to take it to its destination. But otherwise, it's tilto shalei l'tzarech. So I want to discuss a basic issue. We were discussing kissing a Sefer Torah. Are you allowed to kiss a Sefer Torah? Are you allowed to kiss a Sefer Torah? Say, Avada, you're allowed to. I mean, so we just said it's Mavato Gzeros Rois. Mm-hmm. So the truth is, this is a very interesting sugya. I never spoke about it, but I was able to collect the Machon. It's a very fascinating topic. There are two main streams of thought. Probably the most authentic source on the issue is the Shari Ephraim. Shari Ephraim was written by Rabbi Ephraim Zalman Margolius, a contemporary of the Chassam Sofer. It is well known that the Chassam Sofer writes that never in his life was he ever chayzer from a halacha. Chassam Sofer was never chayzer. Chassam Sofer said, I have such siyata d'shmaya that even if you slug up all the proofs I bring to my halacha is still true. I know bevados I have siyata d'shmaya, but halacha is the way I say it. In fact, the Chassam Sofer says only twice in his life was he ever chayzer, because Rabbi Ephraim Zalman Margolius, the Chassam Sofer writes, Ashrei kahal adoscha shekacha lohem lehanois miziv shchinascha. That Rabbi Ephraim Zalman Margolius was a goyin atzum, and he was very wealthy as well. And the Chassam Sofer had the utmost respect for him. And 2 times Rabbi Ephraim Zalman Margolius got the Chassam Sofer to retract, and both times the Chassam Sofer later writes, I was wrong, I shouldn't have retracted. You hear this? Chassam Sofer says only twice in my life did I ever retract, and both times I was wrong. Yeah? So Ephraim Zalman Margolius wrote a Sefer on Hilchos Sefer Torah. Hilchos Kriyas HaTorah. Says Rabbi Ephraim Zalman Margolius, Noyagim shekol echad mekarev atzmai ktsas liris HaSefer Torah. The minhag is, even if you sit in right field, center field, you're in the bleachers in the shul, the moment the Arayin opens and they take out the Sefer Torah, you take 1 step closer to the Sefer Torah. You don't have to run up to the front and knock people unconscious on your way. It's okay. But you do need to take 1 step closer to the Sefer Torah to see it. Even the women should advance slightly to get closer to the Sefer Torah. Even if you're in the Azara, when you hear that Sefer Torah being taken out, run if you can to see it. B'roivam hajus melech. V'chol hamiskarvim etzlam. And if you're close to it, noishkim ha-Sefer Torah b'peh. Kiss the Sefer Torah with your mouth. None of this. Yeah? By the way,
you're kissing your hand, that's all you do.
You're kissing yourself? What's going on? Why? You kiss it with your mouth. Imagine you had a relative and you went like that. You're gonna need to speak to. You're gonna have to go to a specialist. You're gonna have to go to therapy after. You have to do it pepeh. And then you say the pasuk Yishakeni min ashikois piyu. This is where Ephraim Zamar goes. This is the authentic Sefer on Hilchos Kriyas Torah. And if you're close enough, you need to hug the Sefer Torah. And you hug it with your right hand. And you say Vimino Techabekeni. And if you can kiss it with your mouth, then kiss it with your hand. So there's a peirush on the Shari Ephraim, who brings down from the Kitzur Hashla. The Kitzur Hashla says it's ridiculous. You're going to kiss the Sefer Torah with your hand? So the Ephraim Zamar said, no, it's not ridiculous, because the logic is as follows. Otherwise, the question would be, well, are you kissing yourself? Why are you kissing yourself? That's by the way, that's strange to kiss yourself, right? But it says, Ephraim Zamar says, it's not strange, because people see that you touch the Sefer Torah as if there's like a roishem of Kedusha on your hand after you touch it, and then you kiss it. It's nicker, you're doing it l'kavod ha-Torah, and that's the minhag when we touch our tefillin. If, let's say, a person is meisiach das from their tefillin, they touch the tefillin, they don't go and kiss the tefillin, they kiss their hand. Or if somebody has to fix the tefillin, they kiss their hand. Or somebody touches the mezuzah. Very often they do that. But he says, you should be careful. That even if you're going to do that, your hands better be clean. If your hands are not clean, let's say a person went to a Beis HaKisei, they cannot touch a sefer. By the way, if somebody went to a Beis HaKisei, you now even touch a sefer before you wash your hands. So likewise, you can't touch tefillin or a sefer Torah. So Rav Ephraim Zamar goes clearly writes, the correct practice is, you kiss the sefer Torah with your mouth. By the way, in Tefillah Zaka, we say, in the merit of kissing the Sefer Torah with our mouth, it should be matayar our mouth, and Hashem should be mechaper all the avonos we did with our mouth. However, comes Rav Henkin, and Rav Henkin says, no, it is not a mitzvah to kiss the Sefer Torah with your mouth. Not only is it not a mitzvah, it is an isser. It is wrong. One is not allowed to kiss the Sefer Torah. Why? This is very pashut. Number one, I don't know if it ever happened to you. Ever go to a wedding, from the other side, not your side of the family, the other side, and you have the fourth cousin who comes over to you and gives you a big, wet, slobbery kiss. That ever happened to you? And you're thinking to yourself, pal, we're really not that close. No, that never happened to you? How about a handshake could have done the job, pal? What in the world are you doing? We haven't seen each other in 3 years. Why are you giving me a kiss? We're not that close. Who do you think you are? Did I tell you that I want your saliva on my cheek? Did I tell you that? Maybe you should ask me next time. Says Rav Henkin, when I was in the Caucasus region, located at the border of Eastern Europe and the Caspian Sea, I saw the minhag of the Georgian is the correct minhag, that they do not kiss the Sefer Torah, they do not kiss the me'il, they point, and they kiss their mouth. And they kiss their finger. And that is what you should do. La halacha, you may not kiss the Sefer Torah, says Rav Henkin. Number one, what? Yeah.
Which finger?
I don't know. I'm not sure. That much I can't tell you. But don't kiss. He says, number one, kissing something with your mouth indicates a certain closeness, a certain familiarity. Rabbi Yid, you're kissing the Sefer Torah? You were Maver Sedger yet this week with Rashi? You know what the Ramban says in the Parsha? You know what the Sfarno says? You know what the Malbim says? What do you know about the Torah? You know the pasuk Torah Tzivalanu Moshe from kindergarten? How many Masechtas do you know? How many Masechtas do you know with Tosfos? Less than 10 or more than 10? Oh, less than 10. Oh, less than 10. So you're telling me you barely know anything in the Torah. So what are you doing putting your mouth on the Sefer Torah? Who do you think you are? It's Gaiva. You cannot kiss the Sefer Torah. Number two, it's germs. It's germs. We live in the 20th century. And so you say, oh, come on, that's like a germophobic. What is it called? You're a germophobic? Well, you ever look in Shulchan Aruch? Shulchan Aruch says you may not drink from a cup and then give it to your friend. It's halacha. So if you can't drink from a cup and give it to your friend, why are you slobbering over the mantle of Sefer Torah? And then the next guy has to be infected with every disease you ever had because you left a trace of all of your DNA all over the Sefer Torah. Therefore, it is asur la'alacha to kiss the Sefer Torah. By the way, I heard Rav Avigdor Miller said the same thing, and Rav Tovia Goldstein said the same thing. I didn't hear from them directly. I'm telling you what I heard from others. So I recommend the following. Then he says further, you ever see people, they get an aliyah and they take the little mantle and then they wipe the letters out, so basically they're over isurei da'iraisa of erasing the letters of Sefer Torah, and if Hashem's name is there, they're over mamish, the most chamor isser of mechika Shem Hashem. He says you're not allowed to do that. Nobody says you're allowed to do that. It's mamish and isser da'iraisa. You take the mantle and either get close, but not too close. You know, you ever hear the expression, close enough? Right? Close enough. Certain things in life it's close enough. We're close enough, right? Do it on the bottom by the clef. But to take, here it is, you want to get a chus. And you want to get an aliyah l'Torah. And what are you doing? You and the Babylonians who burnt the Sefer Torah by the second Beis HaMikdash, both of you are wiping out the letters. I'm on time. They're part of the share. I could use a little humor. I'm a rabbinic license. But I'm just trying to dramatize the point. The point is, 3 halachas, says Rav Henkin. You may not kiss the Sefer Torah. Number 1, it's gaiva. Number 2, it's germs. And don't put the mantle on the letter. So there's a very simple solution, I think. You say, come on, it's not the Masor, it's not the Minhag Yisrael. You kiss the Sefer Torah. First of all, there's no minhag that your lips and your tongue has to be on the mantle. So what you could do is, first of all, it's very easy to hug the Sefer Torah. You put your right arm on it, and you give it a kiss, but you put your hand in between. This way, nobody else has to be infected with the bacteria or all the viruses that are swimming through your bloodstream. And Shalom al Yisrael, the best thing to do is, I think Ramo said, just get close enough that it looks like you're mamish kissing it, but don't actually infect the Sefer Torah and therefore the rest of the Mispalalim in the shul. You could be a member, not a member, even if you pay membership. That doesn't give you the right to infect other Yidden. Okay, Rabbi say. Okay, touching it, look, germophobic we can't be. You're allowed to shake hands, but there's a difference between a handshake and what?
You can clean your hands after.
You can. Yeah, I don't think you need to use Purell after you touch the Sefer Torah and you give it a hug. But the point is, that's what Henkin's saying.
How do they respond to this problem?
Who's they?
The one that said that you're supposed to kiss her? How do they respond?
First of all, it was written 200 years ago, before they realized that it's another opinion. I'm not telling anybody not to. Okay, let's make this clear. There are 2 opinions over here. Rav Ephraim Zalman Margolis, and probably the minhag in Klal Yisrael for the most part, is you could kiss the Sefer Torah. Rav Henkin is just recommending that, be it with the information we have, be considerate of other people. So if you want to kiss the mantle, do it in a way where maybe put your hand in between or get pretty close to it, make it look like it, and then you're good. What?
Just kiss your talis.
Put your talis in between. In fact, Rav Henkin says you should not kiss your own tefillin. You know why? Germs. I have a question. You take a cup of soda, you take a cup and you drink from it. You put it in the fridge and you drink from it 2 days later. Maybe you weren't feeling well 2 days ago. You're just introducing the same bad old germs. You touch it. You don't kiss it again, he says. The germs froze in the refrigerator. But your tefillin are not in the refrigerator. Okay, Rabbi say, I am not here to paskin. I'm not here to change any minhagim, whatever your long establishment hagim are. Kol hakavod. I'm merely telling you what Rav Henkin writes. By the way, you say, who's Rav Henkin? Every single minhag of every shul in America, kemat, is preserved by Rav Henkin through the Ezras HaTorah Luach. All minhagei Beis HaKnesses comes from Rav Henkin. Okay, be it as it may. So, I didn't see him print. I would say that at least that the least of it's a hargasha. That if you're going to go and kiss the Sefer Torah, which I'm not trying to discourage anyone from doing, you should at least have the feeling that who am I to approach? Mi anoichi, right? Even if you do it, it should be with a certain feeling of unworthiness instead of this is mine. I've mastered this. I'm very close with this. Okay, Rabbi Sai. So it's brought in the Sefer Hanechamadim Mipaz. He writes a story that he saw with his own eyes. There was a guy in trouble with the government. For whatever reason, we're not going to get into exactly what he did. And he was davening Rosh Hashanah, b'chiyos, demais, wailing, crying. Tzom Gedalia, they still after him. Aser Simei Tshuva, he's giving tzedakah, he's shlugging kaparas, he went to 3 Shabbos Shuva drashas, he wrote them over, he said them over in English and in Yiddish, and then Erev Yom Kippur, he went to the mikvah, he was toivel 500 times, nothing doing. He's still in trouble with the government. He sits in the sukkah, he sleeps in the sukkah, he eats in the sukkah, he does everything in the sukkah, nothing doing. He comes to the shul Simchas Torah, and he dances his heart out, and he's schwitzing, and he's dancing, besimcha, and right after Simchas Torah, the case is dropped. Says, Hanechamadim mipaz, that there is no question, everybody was makir, that it was the zuchus of his dancing with the Torah, being mechabe the Torah, being mesameach with the Torah, that is what was mevatel the gezerah, which again is what we saw earlier from Reb Chaim Falaji, that somehow being mesameach with the Torah, kissing the Torah, however you do it, whatever your minhag is, hugging the Torah is a skula to mevatel the gezerah Yisroel. And the question is, how exactly? Why is that?
Since the Torah, we always marched outside with the Torah. Always.
Okay, good. So basically there are 2 views on it. One view on it is it's wrong and you're not allowed to do it. And the other view on it is there are poskim that say you could do it. So in your shul, they must follow the latter. What? So I mentioned Rabbi Vadia has a tshuva that you're allowed to, but Rabbi Chaim Falaji says not to do it. The Chidah says not to do it.
Doesn't a melech, when he goes out to wage war, bring the Sefer Torah with him?
It's his own. The Karabay Kol Yemei Chayav. That's his own personal Sefer Torah. Yeah. Okay. So let's Rabbi. So let's delve into this a little bit. Mar Rabbi Sai, the Chidah tells us a very important yesod. Chidah writes in the Mara Be'etzva, Yishtadel ma'oid, a person should try very much. Shekisha oisa mitzvah, that when a person does a mitzvah, oiloi mei Torah, or learns, yeh b'simcha gedola. It should be with great joy. Greater than if you made $1 million. That you have the zchus, that you have the merit to learn Torah, to do a mitzvah. It is very important. A person should try very much. That before a person does a mitzvah, you should endeavor to do it b'simcha. And if you do it b'simcha, it will shower on you kedusha. You say extra kedusha. Says the Chidah, and we've learned this in the past. The Mishnah Berurah actually brings it down that all of the gadlus of the Arizal, Gilui Eliyahu, what the Arizal knew, the Arizal said he wasn't even able to write down what he taught because every time he opened his mouth, it was like a torrent of Torah was just pouring forth from him. All of the gadlus of the Arizal said, came from his simcha shel mitzvah. Not from his hasmada, not from his devekus, not from his kedusha, from his simcha. The simcha of the Arizal was the key to his spiritual success. Says the Chidah, davar niflad ma'id, that even though the Gemara in Eruvin says, chara b'hai al maleka, there ain't no reward in this world. There is one exception. Now the truth is, there are 26 exceptions. Yeah? Dan, you remember? I gave you 16 of them last time, right? And we had 10 on the Wednesday night. But Lamaisa, there's one main exception. What's the exception? Chidah says there's one mitzvah that you get reward in this world, and that is if you do a mitzvah b'simcha. You put on tefillin, don't expect reward. You come to the shiur, you'll get supper, but don't expect schar b'hayama. Any mitzvah you do, don't expect reward in this world. There's one inyan that you can be rewarded in this world, and that is simcha. But it's Pilei Plam. It's Pilei Plam. Because on the one, the Chazal say on the words, the Gemara in Eruvin says, Hayoim la'asoisam, today to do, umachar lekabel scharam. And tomorrow to get the reward. That means you don't get reward in this world. On the other hand, the Torah says, V'haya eikev tishman. Targum says eikev is chalaf, reward. On the other hand, the Torah says you do get reward. The problem is the words Hayoim la'asoisam and the words V'haya eikev tishman are back to back. Hayoim la'asoisam, the end of Eschanan, the beginning of Ekev, v'haya Ekev tishman. So you can't have a more blatant steer than that. The last words of Eschanan are, you don't get reward. The first words of Ekev are, you do get reward. So the Chidah beautifully says in Kama v'chama Makaimais, we know Ein Vayehi, whenever the Torah says Vayehi, it's a lashon of Tsar, Vayehi R'miyach HaShesh. Because Yehi, it will be future, and then you're taking your future and you're shoving it back to the past with the Vav, it's Tsar. But if you have Haya, was the past, and you want to flip your past and use it to help you in the future, V'haya ein v'haya ela simcha. Says the Heilig Achidah, Hayoim la'asoisam. Today you do mitzvahs, don't expect reward, tomorrow you get reward. But v'haya, if you do a mitzvah b'simcha, eikev tishman, that's what you get reward in this world. There's only one way to get reward in this world. Doing a mitzvah b'simcha. So it comes out, if you want to know, what could we do in this world that's going to save us ba'olam hazeh and is going to spare us ba'olam hazeh and is a way to reap the rewards ba'olam hazeh? That's simcha shel mitzvah. So if you have an opportunity to be misameach with the Torah, to dance with the Torah, to hug the Torah, to kiss the Torah, then whatever was looming from a Rosh Hashanah and a Yom Kippur and Aseret Yemei Tshuva, through a Simchas Torah, you could be mevatel all the Gzeiros Rois. So, any mitzvah, but specifically the mitzvah of Simchas Torah is, it's a day of Simchas Torah. In other words, every mitzvah you could do b'simcha, but it's the only Yom Tif that the Yom Tif is l'sameach im HaTorah. So, sort of the crescendo of the Yom Noraim is whatever may have been looming. Avinu Malkeinu, Batel Me'aleinu, Kol Gzeres Kashes. Rebbeinu Shalom says, look, at the end of the day, I'm going to give you one last chance that whatever may have been looming during the first 21 days, on day 22, you can knock it all out. Maybe that's the meaning of Reb Chaim Falaji, that if taka, you're not allowed to take the Sefer Torah out into the street. But if you could have took that Sefer Torah out into the street and danced with it and kissed it, that taka would be mevatel or the Gzeiros Rois. Okay? Mitzvahs lav lehenos. No, that's right.
So if you have simcha, then that's a tremendous enough.
Mitzvahs lav lehenos nitnu means that halachically whatever benefit that you get from the mitzvah is not considered hana. You may be getting hana. I may get, let's say I'm working on developing the muscles in my forearms. So I assered the lulav bahana against me. And by shaking the lulav, I'm getting tremendous hana. I'm exercising my forearms. I'm allowed to shake the lulav. Whatever subsidiary benefits you get from doing a mitzvah are not halachically substantive. That's what it means. Mitzvahs lav lehenos. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy doing a mitzvah. It just means halachically it's not recognized as not. So coming back to the 98 kvasim on Sukkot, says the Shem Shmuel, in the name of his Heilige Father, the Avnei Nezer. We know the primary mitzvah of Sukkot is v'samachta b'chagecha. It's man simchasenu. We know the toichacha and the 98 klos of the toichacha come tachas shelo yavadatas Hashem lekecha b'simcha. Al yedei the hakravas, the 98 kvasim, which is an avoida b'simcha, it has in it the ability to mevatel the toichacha. So Rabbi, so what we're saying now is like this. It's not that the toichacha comes as a punishment for not serving Hashem b'simcha, which might be the case, but there's another way to read it. You know why a person might have to, you know why a toichacha would come? Because if you don't serve Hashem b'simcha, we're not mevatel the 98 klos of the toichacha. The only way to be mevatel the toichacha is avodas Hashem b'simcha. It all is coming tachas shelo yavadatas Hashem lekecha b'simcha. Because if you would have served Hashem b'simcha, the same way the 98 kvasim of Sukkot, man simchasenu, are mevatel the 98 klos of the toichacha. Likewise, if you would have just danced with that Torah on Simchas Torah, here you have a guy, I'm going to sit in the corner. That's not my thing. I'm not a big dancer. I'm not into that kind of thing. I'll just sit there and take pictures on my phone. Pal, you're on your phone the entire day. You're taking pictures the whole day. You sleep with your phone. Every 30 minutes you wake up to go on your phone. Put the stupid phone down and dance with the Torah. You're going to save your life. This way, instead of waiting until 22 days after Rosh Hashanah to be mevatel gzeros, you're mevatel it before any of the gzeros come. Put the phone down, turn it off for an hour and a half, do what you got to do to save your skin. If you dance and you hug and you kiss the Sefer Torah, it's mevatel gzeros rois. Nobody's watching. What are you worried about? Somebody's looking at you? Somebody's going to comment on the way you dance? You don't have to be a good dancer. You don't have to be the best dancer in the world. Do whatever you can. David HaMelech, the Vilna Gaon, the Mishnah Berurah says, dance on Simchas Torah b'chol koichai. I'm telling you, the Vilna Gaon did not practice during the year, did not practice his steps. He had a cheshbon at the end of the year, how many minutes he wasted from Talmud Torah. But he closed the Sefer, and he got up to dance b'chol koichai. Says the Sefer Likutei Yehuda, that he heard from the Gerer Rebbe in the name of the Chidushei Harim. Well, if Simcha is mevatel the holiest of the Teichacha, Sheva brachos. If anybody needs Sheva brachos Torah, that's very good. Remember this. You have Sheva brachos. How many times a day could you make Sheva brachos? Twice a day.
As many times as you want.
Twice a day. This vart is only going to work if you do it twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night. 14 a day times 7, 98. Sheva brachos is mevatel the Teichacha. Why? Simchas chasan v'kala. Simcha shel mitzvah is mevatel the klalos of the Teichacha. So they say in the Sefer Chasidus. You ever hear this joke? It's not a joke. It's serious. Reb Simcha Bunim, Parsha. He's once walking along the river. The name of the river was the Weisel River. Ich weiß nicht what the Weisel River is. I looked it up. I could not locate the Weisel River, but it was a river. And it was a windy day, and a young man was walking on the edge of the river, and he got blown into the river, and he was drowning, he was gasping, and the Rebbe turns over. Everybody thought the Rebbe was going to be du pikuach nefashos. The Rebbe turns to the guy, he says, Lozmer, grisen dem levyasan. Do me a favor, when you die, send regards to the levyasan down there. Not that funny when somebody's dying, you know? But you're supposed to laugh. It was a joke, okay? Regards to levyasan. And all of a sudden, the guy was gasping, and he strengthened himself, and he swam to shore, and he says, Rebbe, what are you doing? You're poking him. The guy was dying. You're making a joke, you're making a gelechter, the guy dying. He says, no, you have to understand. There's one way in this world to get out of all trouble. Ki b'simcha seitzeu. Through the midah of simcha, you could get out of anything. See, the problem is when a person is in a rut and in a bad mood, everything is impossible. You can't even get through your morning. You know how it is. You get up on the wrong side of the bed. The Baal Shachris is taking forever. He's too fast. He's too slow. The Baal Koire, the Gabbai. By the time it's 10 o'clock, you're ready to wring 10 people's necks. You can't. But you wake up in a happy mood. Everything slides away. Kiba simcha seitzim. Through simcha, you can get out of everything. Says the Rebbe. This kid was drowning. You know why he was drowning? Because he was meyayish. He gave up hope. So I told him a joke. And as he's dying, he actually laughed that he was going to send regards to Leviathan. Once he laughed, now he's good to go. Then he can muster the courage, he can muster the strength. He has the wherewithal to face life's challenge. I wasn't making fun. I was literally sending him. I didn't have a life jacket to send him. I didn't have a raft. The best thing to do to lighten someone's day, that's how you get them out. It's a new pshat. Not the pshat, it's an oynesh for not serving Hashem b'simcha. If you would have served him b'simcha, then the 98 kvasim would be mavatel, the 98 klos of the Teichacha. If you would have danced with the Sefer Torah, it would have been mavatel the gzeiros. Back to Reb Chaim Falaji. He says, you ever realize why Simchas Torah is on the 22nd day of Tishrei? Why the 22nd day? So he says, because the world was created in Rosh Hashanah, and the world was created for the Torah. And the Torah has 22 letters. So in order to celebrate the 22 letters of the Aleph Beis, we celebrate and we rejoice with the Torah on the 22nd day of Tishrei. Says Reb Chaim Falaji in the Sefer Nefesh Kol Chai, one of his 82 Sfarim. Okay? He says the remez is, in Tehillim, it says, Yasisu v'yismechu bicha, will rejoice in you, meaning on the 22nd day of Tishrei. Yigdal, and then you'll say, Yoimru Samid Yigdal, and when you take out the Torah, you say, Gadlu Lashem Iti, says Reb Chaim Falaji. But then I realized maybe there's a better remez. Does anybody know, where in Tanakh does the Tanakh speak about the Yom Tov of Simchas Torah? So the Yalkut Shimoni says, that what is Simchas Torah, what is Shmini Atzeres? For 7 days we're makriv 14 kvasim a day, 13 parim, 12 parim, 11 parim. So Hashem says, the first 7 days are for the Umayis Ha'olam. So you, my son, Klal Yisrael, you feed them. You know, if you have a guest in your house, the kids are busy feeding the guests. You don't have time to pay attention to the kids. So Hashem says, 7 days, feed all the Umayis Ha'olam. Comes the Shmini Atzeres, Hashem says, you've been busy for the last 7 days. Cut the food, 1 par, 1 aisle, let's limit it, let's cut the food. Now it's just me and you, and we'll pay attention together. We'll pay attention to each other. We'll rejoice together. Simchas Torah. We'll rejoice together. Shenemar. Zeh hayoim asa Hashem. Nagila v'nismacha boy. Says the Yalkut Shimoni, boy. So are you rejoicing in the day of Simchas Torah? Or are you rejoicing in the Torah? Says the Yalkut Shimoni, we have to go to another pasuk in Tanakh. Heviani hamelech adarav. The king brought me into his chamber. That refers to what? Sukkos. Nagila v'nismecha bach. We will rejoice and be glad in you, says the Medrash in the 22 letters of the Torah. In other words, where in Tanakh does it refer to Simchas Torah? In the word bach. Nagila v'nismecha bach. So this is another remez why Simchas Torah is on the 22nd day of Tishrei. Because the makar of Simchas Torah in the Tanakh is the pasuk Nagila v'nismecha bach. So it comes out Oyam v'noira. You ready for this? The Gemara said in Baba Basra that the toichecha of kisavai, how many letters does it encompass? It begins with the letter vav, the Gemara says, ve'im loy sishma'u. It ends with the letter hey, ve'ein koine. It encompasses the 22 letters. Marv Rabbi say, we all know that we are so focused during this month of the year of being mevatel the toichecha. V'haraya, we lane it 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. Tichla shana v'kalaiseh. We put in a parsha as a buffer zone so that it doesn't infringe on Rosh Hashanah. And we're still worried about it. Sukkot time. That's why we're makriv 98 kvasim to get rid of the klalais. So if Rosh Hashanah is scheduled around the 98 and Sukkot is scheduled around the 98. You don't think the last day of the system is also one last chance to be mavatel, the 22 ICIs with which the Teichacha is given, beginning with the Ois Vav, ending with the Ois Hey. So on Simchas Torah Hashem says, if the 22 Klalois of the Teichacha in this week's Parsha, beginning with the Vav, ending with the Hey, are still around by Simchas Torah, you're going to dance with that Torah, you're going to hug that Torah, you're going to be mesameach with the Torah, so that if you didn't get it out by laning Nitzavim 2 weeks of Rosh Hashanah, if you didn't by laning Kisavai 2 weeks of Rosh Hashanah, if you weren't mevatel it through the 98 kvasim, at least by dancing on the 22nd day of Tishrei, you'll be mevatel the 22 oisiyos of the Teichacha of Kisavai. Where in the Tanakh is the remez to Simchas Torah? Nagila, v'nismacha, bach. I found randomly, the Chidah writes, Nagila, v'nismacha, bach. Nagila is gematria 98. Nagila is 98. Nagila, v'nismacha, bach. If the 98 close, you didn't throw down the drain by laning kisavai this Shabbos. If you weren't mavatel the 98 by bringing the 98 kvasim, at least besimcha shel mitzvah, as you're dancing with the Sefer Torah, you don't have to go down under and send regard to Lev Yasan. You don't have to. We're going to ward that off. We're going to ward off all the gzeros rois. Baruch Hashem, Hashem is mazaka us this year that we don't have to wait until the 22nd day of Tishrei. This year, you know what chus we have? We have a Simchas Torah this Sunday before Rosh Hashanah. So Be'ezras Hashem, what? Chaf Beis Elul. Wow. So that's, write that one down, yeah? Chaf Beis Elul, yeah? Yeah. Rabbi Sai, it says on here, Chaf Beis Elul. I'm not making this, I didn't know this before. If I would have known before, I would have milked it even more. But the 22nd day of Elul here in our show, Baruch Hashem, the Gross family.
You know why the Gemara is in Baba Basra?
Beis,
22.
Almost, right? But, okay, but there we go. Rabbi Sai, it's during this month of the year, as a way of upgrading our mitzvahs, as a way of elevating our mitzvahs, we should try to have in mind to do mitzvahs b'simcha. The person does a mitzvah b'simcha, it's a way to ward off all the klolis. Rebbeinu Shalom should be mavata from us this year. Tichla shana v'kalaisea. Hashem should be mavata all the gzeros rois. Hashem should be soisem all the piva, the mastimim, and the makatrigim. And the Rebbeinu Shalom should be mavarich all of us. B'virchas HaTorah. For all those who are mesameach with the Torah, are mechabe the Torah, the Rebbeinu Shalom should give us all oirach yamim b'mina, Usmaila, Oisher v'chavoid, Hashem oizam oyitain, Hashem yivarech esamay v'ashalem. Shkoyach. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't say that.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.